I'd now like to welcome Chris McCabe. Pleasure.
It's pretty cold.
Rather that on the coast.
That's a great.
Thank you, David, for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. Brilliant festival. I'm going to read some poems from the latest Tears in the Fence, from a sequence called Sudden Trellises, and they're a conversation with Hopkins, George Herbert, Geoffrey Hill and Dylan Thomas, and they're about the nature of faith in relation to light. So I was interested in Hopkins, how light is dappled, and it's kind of hard to pin down. It's all over the place, lots of candles, and that kind of becomes a metaphor for his faith. Whereas in Herbert, light it's bold streets, you know, it comes straight from the sun, it's clear. And I had an incident whereby I spoke to God for the first time in about 20 years, and at that moment in Battersea Park, at the exact moment, the clouds cleared and the sunbeams came out like a postcard, you know, kind of picture postcard from a church. And I thought, holy shit, this works, you know. I'll have to try this more often. And just at that moment, I was kind of standing by these bushes in Battersea, and I realised that a cottager had followed me into the bushes. And he was thinking of something totally different. And, so it was kind of like Benny Hill meets St Thomas Aquinas. So that set me off on this sequence of poems. And the visual poems, they're not concrete poems, I've written concrete poems. These are definitely pattern poems or visual poems. And I think there's something in Herbert and Dylan Thomas and Geoffrey Hill lately, and Hopkins, whereby at some point in their career they've looked at pattern poetry or visual poetry as a way of kind of solidifying immortality. Because when you look at a visual poem, or when you write a pattern poem, it feels that you've made an object, and that is something which you might believe you can carry on into the future in a different way than a more straightforward poem does. So these are pattern poems, but they're not in any clearly identifiable pattern, because they do relate to a more dubious faith. So I'm going to read some of these later on from the ones that were in Tears in the Fence. Can alcohol be a god for the house flesh raises in us? The bar, the altar of worship. The post-mortem verdict was trite for a poet's vocation. He died of insult to the brain. Herbert would blow his wig to hear it, that the Rambo of Cumdonkin Drive had blanked his bargain past and spoke no Welsh. Dylan, like the Solomon Grundy of NYC, was very ill Thursday, worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday, via the Chelsea Hotel. To paraphrase Caitlin, is that fat bastard dead yet? Or words to that effect. His audiences waited, more so than the Beatles. He had the face for the turtleneck. He spent his last night ill and dispassionate with a tribe amanuensis. Unable to raise a shaft for a net, his hands still lilted a cockle sprout. I joke. Perhaps he just wanted some warmth before death. Herbert's abstinence and forgiveness was Dylan's fattiness of liver. It was the altar he should have shaped as minibar, colon as optic. Does the poet have the kudos to carry off their view of Christ? A credo dreamt up more on the hoof than wing. My Christ shall Hopkins, hoping his own take on the Almighty, makes the Almighty throw putty for his holes. Dylan's Spartan hut at New Quay was made of wood and asbestos walls, had liquid gas and a paraffin stove. A black lion squire offered him his back garden shack at the edge of a cliff where he could write without the box fleas of kids. Where master mariners go to sea, the women oft take new lovers in. Poets in distress attempt to scratch God's back with a cloven hoof. Was this my act of despair at Battersea? There is no serotonin drug with the impact of the sun. It is a myth to think poets should know what to do with a tap of black ink. Bill Killick followed Dylan back from the Black Lion to the beach with a dud hand grenade locked in his fist's grip, loaded with one last nightcap. Hopkins would hold a fist up to the light. Webb's son veined his fist. The Eucharist and the flesh dappled as one. Like James Schuyler, you can read his mind via the weather's caprice. In 1868 he burned his poems and called it The Slaughter of the Innocents. The ages don't change. Men with full folios and black countenances come back from Parnassus as if a whole audience had watched with a cap on their lens. He saw a lunar halo from the library window. It was air, he thought, in rhyme with the moon. All clarity of prayer wired to music, like games of paper, scissors, stone whilst carving meat. Is it the quiet riot or the riotous choir that sets the counterpoint music soaring? Herbert, for all his acrostics, made a temple out of syntax. On his deathbed he said, "Here is my book of spiritual conflict. Let it be made forever public. If not, burn it." I'm going to read some poems. I'm going to read some poems from my next collection, which is coming out with Pens in the Margins in December. And the collection's called Speculatrix. And Speculatrix is a Latin word for a female spy. And the core of the book is a sequence of prose sonnets on Jacobean drama. And there's lots of watching and being watched. They're all spoken by different characters from Jacobean plays. And when I came across this word, Speculatrix, I mean, I like the sound of it for a start, but secondly, I was astounded. I just couldn't believe there was actually a word for a female spy. That has never become more used. So I'm going to read two of these poems from that sequence. The first is The White Devil, which is spoken by the Duke of Bracciano, who visits the house of Camillo with the intention of seducing Camillo's wife, Vittoria Corombona. And each of these poems is set at the location of the original performance of that play. So we are here, Clerkenwell, 1612. Late nights around the eyes, claws of blackbirds, woke 3 times to configure double negatives, air sat sleep, translucent. In the dearth of winter, this audience has less wit than sparrows. Eros ball player, whose side are you on? You're no Bill Shankly. Never share one madness with another. It's subjective therapy and blood on your shoes. Void out the earth and scatter our bones. Do it at the Red Bull Clerkenwell, where the hedge funders took our players, seized our seats. We want back what's rightfully ours, our concessions on tragedy. Don't paint yourself white. It washes the rain like London clay down gutters of mush petticoats. We outbraid the stars with several kinds of lights. And if there's a black star, fantastic, I put the wrong book. If there's, oh, that's it. Yeah, ends fantastically in a poem. So do you know what? That was Webster. He's not as good as Ben Johnson. So let's move on to The Alchemist. I got someone to blame for that. Those drinks on the train, because we were sorting out the poems. Sarah went to the minibar and came back with a gin and a canistella. Anyway, fuck the White Devil. The Alchemist, spoken by Lovewit, who returns to the London he fled to escape the plague, to find his home overrun with con artists face subtle and dull common. We are here, Blackfriars 1610. Will you be my speculatrix? Absence keeps us guessing. This city can lick figs. I'll gum its silk with clay, stuck full of black and melancholic worms. The old St. Paul's was burnt to trade and commerce, this hollow dome's for confessions. Blue was the life motif for summer, and the youth you saw in my face. London expels me twice weekly with plague, the provinces rehearse my art, like a coal stuffed with diamonds, the wax splits at Euston. The zombies of ambition march policies of truth, the poets are liars, the wind walls their value phones. I'm on loan with words of accent rising, the terraces I've come from, dictionary entries and duplicates, definition fire licks my heels, Christ's blood in carafes at business lunches, less toxic than sodium glutamate, income enough to learn German or go back to therapy. Hoch Deutsch was not a Babel, I consort with the small poets of our time, the tooth fairy tweaks their nibs each night and milk leaks out each morning. When the Board of Lambeth meets the Bard of Southwark, you get another fucking Revengers play. This night, I'll change all that is metal in thy house to gold. Even the black fillings in this skull, that are rocks around the skin seal of the tongue. If I show them when I laugh, that's because to laugh is the anti-death, even against the city's new plague, named commute. There is no travel card to take us back. I have a real toy saw, but I'm in the wrong play. Strung for a woman who circulates like oil, walled with rubber and roses. A bonny bell, the text said, a soft and buxom widow to this life skeleton, rattled with libido. I would like to dedicate a poem to Ian Britton, who's been very kind to me lately, navigating me through some research I've been doing on Barry McSweeney, photograph courtesy of Ian of Barry McSweeney on the wall over there. And as John Ford said, you know, you've got a choice between choosing the myth and the legend. Go with the myth. So Ian's going to tell you the facts later. This is the myth. So it's the apocryphal story of Barry McSweeney's first reading in London at Bob Cobbling's bookshop, and after the reading, Jeremy Prim was in the audience, and after the reading, Prim was so impressed with what he saw in McSweeney, he put him into his car and drove him back to Cambridge. And I think what's in that myth is the idea of what's good for someone's poetry, what's good for McSweeney's poetry, i.e. development and a coterie of deep thinkers in poetry against what a poet might actually want, which in McSweeney's case was the fame of Dylan and Johnny Cash. And you know, kind of being driven to Cambridge wasn't going away Johnny Cash. So so this is Barry McSweeney, 1967. Less than a grub specked in the engine's womb, less than a lock picked by the wind, less than fame, money, love, less than woodlouse, less than Rambo, less than health, less than gravel, less than dole, less than truth. A Bash Street kid's bouffant splits ends in a crore of consonants, a moment of no blue plaque on Charing Cross Road. McSweeney was here. Before the Undertaker, flanked in Soviet black, hair grey as hoarfrost, bled by forged passports, took you away from the glare of your audience in the back of a car, destination Cambridge, via Holborn, Euston, Hampstead. A massed crowd of stars swerving into side doors, a dog rug, ashtray, manual handle, the stars numerous as the fizz of alcohol, the back of the Undertaker's head transfixed, bigger than Johnny Cash, Chatterton, Dylan, his steady, silent hands tapping out more than words, that motorways are just dictionaries with space inside, Cambridge, 59 miles, adrenaline sporing your blood's comet tails, too drunk to guess that all motorways fall. in silence.